Are you able to hear my voice? Any one of you?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So let me share my screen and let's go. Sharing my screen, and guys, please admit anyone because I'm the only guy without moderator. So it will be helpful if you guys admit anyone who's joining. Okay, so this is my GitHub, main GitHub, where I'll do a lot of my code check-ins every day. I'll do all these things first, and then I'll set the context. What is this series? 120 episodes, and how do we take it? We'll do that, okay? And for this learning purpose, for this entire 120 episodes, I just created an organization. Okay, I just fictitious name Tech Skills Academy. This is what I named it. So here there will be a lot of repositories we'll be creating. So I'll give this one also. Okay, that's the one. And how this goes is you guys need to browse this Tech Skills Academy main. So that's where you will see the big picture, like what is we are going to discuss. So 80 plus items, I just filed it up. And right now we are in item 2. We'll discuss on item 1 also for a quick moment, and then I will be hand-holding you in all these things, okay? And this is my meetup group, .NET Learners House Hyderabad, and where I'll be doing Microservices Series and AWS, multi-cloud, and a lot of other things I'll be doing on and off. So you guys check that. And this is my YouTube channel. So please keep this handy. And all the new videos, I'll do it. I will upload the videos here. So you can see the recent, the OpenAI series is another one where I'm building a microservice solution. Just keep this. So that's it. And all these events are being conducted from the Microsoft Learn community. You can see that Microsoft Learn community. This is my learning room. You can join this learning room. Okay. That's about the introduction. It took 4 minutes of our time. So let's speed up, and we have a decent crowd. I will start with this. So this series, as I was mentioning, it spans across a minimum 120 sessions. Yes, please admit anyone who's coming. This will be popping up. Anyone who's coming in here, so please click on that admit button. So that will help me not switching between these things. Please admit. Anyone take that responsibility. Okay. So that being said, it spans across minimum 120 episodes. So the first thing, I just created one. If you go to this Tech Skills main academy, that's where you will get all the information, like what is that we are doing. If I take you to the main Tech Skills Academy, you will see what is the plan. I mean, I might be changing plan here and there. So but the things is that we will learn. How we will be learning, I'll explain you. So the first thing is we will start with one of the topic, and then we'll learn just enough of that and then go further. So like that, we will be learning. So I'll just give you an example of that. So suppose if you start with C# in .NET 8, we'll learn just 5 to 6 sessions, like 5 hours or something. And then we'll directly start with the object-oriented programming in C#. And again, it's a C# only, but we'll learn a little bit of fundamentals and a little bit of this one. And then we'll start learning about the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. We'll create a very simple website, static one. We'll deploy it to Azure and AWS. And then we'll come back and we'll write a little bit more JavaScript. And there are a lot of web APIs which is available outside open world. We'll integrate plain JavaScript with that external API and show some data. So now we converted our static website into a web application where we are interacting with the APIs. And then we'll stop there and we'll come back and might do one small mini project in the MVC, traditional ASP.NET Core MVC, and then Razor pages, and then and then we'll do something on Blazor server, Blazor WASM, EF core, web API. Like this, we'll do a lot of things. Okay, that's the big picture. So that we will be learning most of the things, like everything. Please browse this. Please browse this URL. Tech Skills Academy main. So that will give you a good enough picture on what is that we will be doing. Okay, please browse on this one. Okay, that being said, today we are starting with, this is the repository. Please keep this handy. Learn C#. We'll be doing most of our experiments on this, at least for the next few sessions. And the cadence right now I'm planning to do is 2 sessions every month. The more you people attend, I will increase the cadence to 3 sessions every month. Okay, every Mondays. Let's keep this on Mondays so we know exactly that. Okay, Monday is Microservice Series. Okay, so initially I'm starting with 2 sessions based on I see a lot of people joining. So from September month, I will bump this up to 3 sessions a month. Okay, 3 Mondays. Now August we take 2, we'll do it in 2 Mondays, but September I'll start 3 Mondays. If I see the same number of people, and then October onwards I'll move this to 4 sessions every month. Exceptional, I might fall sick someday. So excluding that, let's do that. Chalo, thank you so much. So today is the first session. I will close rest of the browser so that I'll get some extra space, and you will see how I'm structuring this folder is. There'll be documentation folder and there'll be SRC. Work is that I'm doing some experiments and piling up the code and keeping it ready. So you guys have to focus only on the documentation and S1. S1 means session 1. So if you go to the documentation, you will see similarly session 1, session 2, S1 series. So this is the one which we are going to discuss today. There are a lot of things are there. I'll just explain. I might be upgrading this one or modifying, but let's see. Today is the first time I'll be speaking more on theory. If anyone would have attended my previous sessions, they know that I'm a zero slider guy, purely hands-on. But today, little bit context I need to set up, so I need to speak a little bit more. We'll discuss about what is .NET, and we'll see about its history. And we'll have 30,000 view of this CLR. These things, we'll discuss about that. We'll discuss about the language, and we'll discuss about the few of the basic commands. And then we will be preparing the folders and solution, and then we'll be creating the projects, and then we'll execute that solution, and then we will modify, and we'll discuss about we'll execute it, and we'll discuss about the program structure and what is that program is made up of, and what is the project structure. And we will be doing 2 varieties of this one. One is with top level statements. One is the old traditional main method, and we will see that that we are some of the internals are there. We will discuss this one. So let's start without further delay. Okay, so the first thing is we will see this one. Saroj is going on and off. Okay. Okay, that should be fine. So let's see I'll open up a few of these URLs, and then we will we'll be discussing that. Okay, so introduction to this and this. I'll open all these things. So we might close some of these things a little later, but just for the sake, I'll open and we'll discuss, because we don't need this at this point of time for sure. We'll start with this one, history of .NET and what is .NET. So let's go with this one. What is .NET? And you see this. What is that? Okay, this one. Okay, so .NET in a single line. It's a free cross-platform and open source. Okay, so .NET, that's what is this .NET. Okay, then .NET supports multiple languages. So some of the things which we see is C#, F#, C#, F#, and some other .NET compliant languages are there. And where can we use this .NET? So we can use this .NET on to build the web application, desktop applications, mobile, IoT, everywhere. I mean, you name it, you will see that you'll be able to code it. So you're able to do this .NET, use .NET in multiple places. Previously, the .NET used to be Windows only specific, so our horizon was a little bit. Now what is happening is it's cross-platform. So if you know .NET, you will be able to work in Windows, Linux, and Mac OS, and a lot of other things are being supported. And the release cadence we'll discuss in a minute. Okay, let's see about this .NET history. So when we are seeing about this .NET history, we have to come here to see this one. Let's spend 1 minute of time, and again we'll come and we'll revisit this one. Some of the things we will verbally discuss, and again I'll show you in the next session. We'll do a deep dive on that one. So back in 2000, they started with C. Do you know what is the official name of C# programming language? I mean, .NET was officially released in 2000, but the official release, I mean, official name of C was COOL, COOL. Okay, C like object-oriented language. So that was C#'s original name was COOL, and later they renamed it as C#. But cool is that we are working in COOL programming language. So from the history perspective, if you see that the .NET framework, it started back in 2000s. Okay, so from 2000 they started and they released a lot of these versions. I gave everything in the documentation, just go and see that. So we'll see what are the frameworks and which Visual Studio version it is supporting. So then suddenly what happened is we have to switch to .NET Core. So in 2016, the Microsoft has released .NET Core 1. So this .NET Core was the cross-platform version. And then what happened is slowly they were releasing the .NET Core until 3.1. We used to call .NET 4, .NET Core. Okay, so .NET Framework was in 4 series and .NET Core was in 3 series. Now they wanted to unify. From 5 onwards, they started calling it as .NET 5. We are not calling .NET Framework. We are not calling .NET Core. It's .NET 5, .NET 6. Right now we are in .NET 7, and the next couple of months they will be releasing .NET 8. We will be seeing that also. What is this .NET 8? Why should we learn and stay in the game? Okay, so let me come back here. I'll keep this browser open and we'll come back and we'll learn that. So that's about this one. So even today, framework is there, but when anyone calls .NET 5 or .NET 6 or .NET 7, that means they are calling the cross-platform one. They're not calling the full framework. This is being supported in multiple flavors. and each has got their life cycle. So if you see that .NET 6, its life cycle ends in November 2024 when they release .NET 8. So they will support ends, but still you can use it. But officially, if there is a bug or you want an enhancement or something like that, they'll not be able to do that because they're focusing on releasing. Now the cadence of release is pretty fast. When I was working in 1999 or 2000, some software to release, we have to wait for 5 to 6 years or 3 years minimum. And nowadays, if you see that you're working in AWS console or Azure portal, and you're working, all of a sudden the browser will refresh. Suddenly you'll see that they will push this. So the release cadence, the market and the demand has changed its dynamics. Now the release, if you see Angular and other programming languages, Angular, at least to be very specific, Angular, they are doing every 6 months. And Node.js also, you can see that they have a standard release and the long-term support. Okay, long-term support is minimum, they have the support policy. And everyone is coming towards the cross-platform and open source tools and the versions like standard support as well as the long-term support. So this is the long-term support. So what is the advantage of we learning .NET 8? If you learn .NET 8 today, they will be releasing it on November. So the release date is November 2023. So from 2023, you're good till 2026. Again, 9, they will release little earlier, but still you can learn and keep it ready. But it makes sense for you to change, or when .NET 10 is being released, we need to go to the 10. Because if you see the .NET 7, its end of life is May 2024. After they release this .NET 7, it's like 6 months or something. November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 6 months. 6 months of support. That's the standard time. Okay. So that being said, we have seen that these things. So now let's learn some of the terms. Okay. So we will see this in a moment. Let's come back and see this one. Here we are calling these things. What we need to understand, what is very, very important is at this point of time, I'll be dealing with C#, but in the next session, we'll be working with these two, and we'll see this. So this visually, we will see this, and I will show you the tools which will help us to see all these things. Okay, so for today, we need to understand that we will write programming in C#, and there is a compiler. It's called as Roslyn. So Roslyn compiler will read the C# code and it creates the intermediate language. And the common language runtime, it has got the compilation process that takes this intermediate language and convert that into binaries, zeros and ones, the machine understandable language. So we'll see all this process in the next episode. Today we will set up and we will do some programs, couple of programs, and we'll understand the internals. So this is called just-in-time compilation. And recently, along with this .NET 8, they are releasing ahead of the time compilation. So I didn't explore the ahead of the time compilation, so I'll just keep it as it is without discussing anything on that one. And let's understand this. These things. I'll close all these browsers so that we'll get some extra space to discuss about those two important. I closed the browser which I needed. So this one and this one and this one, and then we'll start programming. So something as, please keep this picture in your mind always. The compilation process. The architecture piece where you see this, we write in C#, it gets compiled using Roslyn or different compilers, respective compilers, and it converts into intermediate language, and that is being JIT compiled, just-in-time compiled, and it compiles to the machine specific language. So that is the reason it gets executed. So now you can see this two main components of .NET are CoreCLR and CoreFX. Okay, framework libraries and common language infrastructure and other things will come and learn. But as of today, we'll learn about, at least at a high level, what is this common language runtime. And CoreFX is set of libraries. I mean, the terms are being changed. Previously, we used to call CLR. Now, .NET Core, I mean, from .NET 8 and other things, they said that, okay, let's call this as a CoreCLR. Okay, it's a complete, the CoreCLR is the runtime, the virtual machine, and the managed execution. We will come and learn about that, but let's at least see that what is this CLR, the common language runtime. So if you see this, the common language runtime, it's the virtual machine, like a JVM. This is also the virtual machine where it does the just-in-time compilation, the managed code execution, and managed code execution. And you can see that memory management, type safety, exception handling, garbage collection, thread management, all these things are being done as part of this CLR. That's virtual machine which executes our code. Okay, so right now the CLR version is 4. You can see that, and the .NET framework version is there. Now the CoreCLR, I think it will be a separate thing. Right now we'll see this CLR. Okay, it's a managed execution and memory management. Everything is coming in as part of this one. Okay, now let's see this CoreCLR. They have a separate page for that, and again it's coming to the same architectural diagram. We are coming in here, but NetNet understand that that's the common language runtime, which is like a virtual machine. It takes care of the just-in-time compilation, execution, memory management, and all these things. Okay, so that being said, let's see another. We saw that, and managed execution process. Okay, so see this. These two pieces we'll understand as of today. So the first piece is we'll write the program in the programming language, then the compiler. Okay, so you can see that .NET compliant compilers, there are a lot of compilers are there, but as of today we'll be focusing, basically we'll be focusing on C#. Just for next session we'll be discussing C# and VB.NET, but rest of the time we'll stick to the game in C#. So the compiler will compile the C# code into MSIL, or recently it's being called as intermediate language. That will be JIT compiled and converted into the machine language. We'll see how that will be intermediate language and everything. We'll be showing it step by step in the next session. Okay, that's about theory, 15-20 minutes theory. I think first time in my life I spoke about this much theory. Okay, so now I will take 2 more minutes. .NET 8 download, as I was mentioning. Right now the .NET 8 is in preview 7. So if you see that preview 1 to preview 7, they'll do, and then next month it will be RC1, release candidate 1, and October it will be RC2, release candidate 2, November 14 release. Okay, that's the one. And if you come back here, you can see the previous versions and out of support versions. These are not being supported, but still, if you want to try, you can use any one of this. But as I was mentioning, the standard term support and the long-term support 6, it's active right now, and it will, the life end of life support is in November 12, but learning will go all the way till 2026. So it's a good decision to start learning in .NET 8. That's it. So let's discuss like what is this C# language. It's the modern object-oriented language and multi-paradigm, and program class is an entry point of every C# application. So every type of C# application we write, there will be one program class, and that is an entry point. There'll be only one. There are cases where you can write 2 program classes. We can switch the command line. But as of today, understand that there's one program class, and that is an entry point. And C# is very case sensitive. We should be extra careful. And C# commonly used to build multiple things like minimal API, web API, and web services, web application, Windows application, MOI, games, IoT. And if you see Python, for Python programming language, the indentation is very, very must. If you don't indent, then you will get an undesirable results, or the program itself will not run. Here, the indentation is not required, but it is recommended to have a proper indentation. So let's discuss few of these commands. I mean, now it's only hands-on. There's nothing to discuss now. Okay, so jokes apart, .NET info. If you type this .NET info, you will see all this information, like what is the OS version. And you can see that what is the main top version in this SDKs. And you can see that other information like host and architecture is 64-bit architecture. What all the SDKs do we have? What runtimes do we have? All these information will be given. Okay. So, and one more thing we will do is .NET list -SDKs. When you do that, it shows that how many versions of SDKs to have, like all 6, 7, and 8. I have all these 3. And we have seen this runtimes, but still let's go ahead and see this one. So it shows what all the runtimes we have. And when we do this .NET version, it shows that what is the version when you create any console application or any application using .NET CLI, what is the version by default it takes. So suppose if you want to override, that I'll explain you in the next session, we can specify the framework version. Okay, what is the framework it should consider? .NET new console. If you see that, we can specify the framework version. Even though when we set the .NET version, it is taking the highest version what is available on my box. But if you want to create any application, you can specify -f or -, framework, and specify the framework what you want. So then it creates. If not, by default, it takes .NET 8 and creates it. And if you want to create anything, you will be using this .NET new. I mean, I'm not using Visual Studio 2022 or any version of Visual Studio for this. I'll see as much as possible. I want to use this Visual Studio code. Just that's because, I mean, we'll get the community version of Visual Studio. We can use it, but I'm trying to learn myself, start using Visual Studio and all the tools. So even if you want to work in Linux or other environments where we don't have the full-blown Visual Studio version, but still we should be able to survive ourselves. Okay, when I do a .NET new, you see that it shows only a few of these templates. But if I see .NET new and list, now you see that it gives us a huge number of this one. Oh, okay. So this is, see this, every day things will change. Every day things will change. So let me upgrade that command to this. As I was mentioning, I told just a few minutes ago, when you're working in Azure portal or AWS, all of a sudden the browser refreshes. That means there was a release without even you noticing. So the latest command what we have to use is this one. New list help show. Oh, it's not giving this desired one. We need this full list. Maybe in future they will do it, but this is the one which will give you full list. So we will be using the short name, but the templates are this one, .NET MOI app or Blazor hybrid. A lot of other things are there. You can see this Android, ASP.NET, MT and gRPC, Web API, and Angular, React, Blazor Server, Blazor WASM, different things, iOS, Mac, MS Build, you can see a lot of things are being provided there. So let me navigate to this and MKDR working and CD. We go into that and see that there's nothing in here. We will be working here. So now what we will be doing is we'll be preparing ourselves for the hands-on. Okay, I've given the complete documentation, but we will start seeing it. So a couple of things is debugging, and as well as how does the MSIL looks, and how does this machine code and the JIT compilation, how does it happens? That's the advanced level, but I will definitely show you in the next session. We'll visually see that what is this MSIL and how the JIT compilation happens. That I'll be showing that one. Okay, but I'll give you a sneak peek of that little later. So first thing is we will be seeing here. So the C# project is like a container which will hold, as of today, let's assume that it holds a lot of programming classes and some other assets and application settings and a lot of other things are there. But as of now, understand that a group of classes, okay, source code, a group of source code, we can wrap it into a C# project. A C# project will have an extension CS_proj that contains the assets and the programming language and the configuration. Everything will be there. We'll come and look into that. And the bunch of projects, we will wrap it into a solution. Okay, so let's create step by step. So here I will create MKDR S1. Okay. CD S1. Now we don't have anything. This is the first command I'm executing it here. So you can see that I will open the Visual Studio Code side by side. So we will be seeing that what is happening. So when we executed that command, .NET New SLN, it created a solution. You can click on that. You'll see that what is the version of we have used and other configuration it has got. So we saw that. And the next thing what we will do is we'll stick to the terminal for few minutes and then we'll come back to VS Code. So now I'm executing it. I'm telling that, hey, go ahead and create a console application and output. -O is for output and it creates the demo v1. And now I'm telling that go and add this project to the solution. We said that the solution is a parent container which will have multiple projects. We'll discuss about what this solution is, what is that project. So now if you see that, you will see that is being added here. There are other ways to add it, but for today we'll learn the toughest way to do it. And then I'm creating a second project because we will be seeing two flavors of this. I will explain what this and what is the difference. So if we come back to this one, you'll see that we have two projects here. And each of the project has got a CS_proj, that's a project file. And this is the type is executable and it is in .NET 8. And this one is in .NET 8. Both are same and both the projects has been added to the solution S1. We'll add one small line just to differentiate when we are executing. I'm calling it as hello, the project name. And similarly, I'm coming here and I'm adding one more line just to differentiate that. We will see the .NET, the demo 1 and demo 2. We just added that one. So let me come back here and I will switch. So we just created the projects. We didn't do anything. We just created a solution. We created a project and added this project to the solution. And again, created a second project and added that project to the solution. So we have 2 projects, 1 solution. And the contents of this project we have seen as of now, we are seeing only the program.cs. So there is a detailed section on covering what is the program structure and what is the project structure. Let's hold on till that session comes. So if you see that .NET Restore, so the command .NET Restore will restore the NuGet packages and other dependencies. So what all the dependencies which we have, it gets downloaded from the respective NuGet packages. We can have our local NuGet packages or NuGet packages in Azure DevOps or any other private package repository or NuGet.org. And build is it compiles the source code and ensures that it is in a compilable state. And .NET Run is, again, it builds and it executes the program. But there are commands which we can say that .NET Run no build, but let's stick to this game plan and we'll do that. So restore is the one which does the which brings the NuGet package. So let me come back over here and I do .NET restore. When I execute this, this uses the this one which the solution file to restore. Why didn't it restore the other file? This we made it, and this one also we created. Okay, now if I execute this .NET Restore again, it should say that all are up to date because it brought all these things. It was missing, so it brought that. Now if I say .NET Build, so what happened is it uses the solution file and it knows that how many projects are there within that, and it goes and compiles that. Now this is the place it compiled. If you see that C# working S1 program structure bin, here is that we have those files, the DLLs are the assets which it has created. Okay, after doing that, what we can do is we can run those projects to see how it is being executed. If I see that, I'm saying .NET Run -- project. If I do just .NET Run, if I do just .NET Run, in this, what is happening is we have a solution and there are multiple projects. So .NET specifically is asking that, hey, you have multiple projects, executable projects. Tell me which one to execute. So we have to be explicit in specifying that, hey, go and execute the demo one. Now what I'm doing is I'm saying that go and execute the demo 2 project. So you can see that the labels are a little different. Hello, demo 1 world. This is hello, demo 2 world. So now that we are sure that we have created 2 projects and we have created 1 solution, we have added these 2 projects to that solution. We did the restore, it gets all the libraries and NuGets downloaded, and we did build, it compiles the source code to an intermediate language, and that intermediate language is what is here. If you come in here, so these are the intermediate language. We'll dig deeper into that one. I don't want to derail today's session, so I'm holding onto myself. So next session we'll see that other things. Okay, now let's come and modify the program demo 1 structure, and I'll explain you. I mean, whatever we are doing today, we will not discuss more about that one. We will do things without knowing what it is. And then we'll come back to the next session and add few more foundational blocks to our arsenal. After having these 2, that's when the 3rd session we'll start learning what is C#. Okay, this is just a foundational blocks. Now, what is that we need to do is we need to create a this one, the math surveys. So what I'm doing is I'm just copying these 2 from one Visual Studio Code to another Visual Studio Code over here, and I'm pasting it. Okay, I will delete this. Just to save a few seconds. So the first one is a math class, and the second one is a program.cs. So I just modified it. Now we'll discuss the program structure, which is very, very important. So let me come back over here and go to that section where we will be discussing about this program structure. So we wrote some code. We don't know what it is, and we'll just execute that. And then we will start discussing about it. Okay. There's some program which executed. Let's not worry about it, but let's see the program structure. This is like a traditional program structure. The first thing is comments. How do you do comments? So the comments you can do multiple ways. So if you write slash asterisk asterisk slash, this is multi-line comment. This is the documentation comment we'll discuss a little later, but two types of comments is a single line comments is with double slash, and good practice is to have one space. Now it looks pretty ugly, line number 15. Now it makes more sense, like double slash. It's just a better way to write code. And slash asterisk asterisk slash. So these are the two ways to do the comments. Now, when do you need comment? Now, some people are very too much into this comment. Just give me a minute. I'll have a glass of water. Guys, please admit anyone who's joining late. Okay, I hope you guys help me out in that. So some people will write comment for every method or every logic. So that used to be the case when I used to program in 1999, 2000 and till 2004. Our project lead and everyone will come and say that, hey, write a comment. What is this logic doing? What is this logic doing? That was the case during that time. Nowadays, people are the architects or project managers or everyone. They want the code to speak. The code itself should be the documentation. By giving a good naming variables, the method names is very understandable, and also back your code with a bunch of unit tests. So the code and the test case, those should be the living document. Okay, so use comments where you have written a complex logic, or there is a business logic behind that, why the variable should not be changed, or the variable should be changed with this enumeration. What is the reason behind? Just those kind of complex things which will help a new developer or new team member coming into our team to understand why is that logic written, or why we should not change, or why we should change, and what all the things which we should keep in mind before changing it. So only for that reason we should use. Not every line, like I documented a lot of comments just to showcase. Okay. So next point, what we are discussing is statements. Like how do we speak in our respective languages, whatever the language it is. So similarly, C# understands statement. Statement is one instruction to the program or to the computer. So every line here, which ends with semicolon, is a statement. Okay, each statement is an instruction. Okay, what is an expression? Expression is sum equal to num1 plus num2. So num1 plus num2 is an expression. These two are operands, and plus is an operator. And keywords, like if you see in this program, there are some things which are in thick blue color. This blue color, like using a namespace, class, static, void, and string. And here you can see var, int, new. These are in blue color. So these are the reserved words for programming. For any specific programming language, there will be a set of keywords which are reserved for that particular programming language. So we should never ever use those keywords for our programming. We should use it, but not for variables or method names or those kind of things. So keywords are reserved words of any programming language. Like block of code. Block of code is any code within the parenthesis. So if you see that, if I highlight this, so this shows a small rectangle, you can see ash color and here. So that shows the scope. Okay, this is the block of code. Now if I place the cursor over here, it shows that this is the block of code. So all these number of statements or lines within the opening curly brackets and the closing curly brackets, flower brackets or mustaches, whatever you call it, within that is a block of statements. And a method contains statements that implement an action or set of instructions to the program. Let's call it as a method. Okay, a logical step. And a class is a container where you'll have multiple variables, methods, and a lot of other things. But as of now, understand for this statement, let's blindly understand that a class is a set of methods. Okay, program class, one method. Math class, one property, two methods. Just like a layman, let's understand this. Okay, a class is bunch of something, couple of methods and properties, or in this class there is only one method. So class is a container which contains the methods, variables. We'll see a lot of other things we'll discuss, but let me hold on to that. And what is a namespace? Namespace is again a logical grouping. Okay, if you say that namespace groups set of classes, like if you see that I have a class called maths and Abu has got another class maths in his namespace. Now Mahesh has got maths class in its namespace. Now Steven has got maths class in Steven namespace. So Hafiz is integrating all these three libraries. So what is happening is if he wants to use the math class, he will prefix with the namespace like Mahesh.math, Abu.math, Steven.math. So the namespace is wrapping these classes so that there will not be any naming collision in that. What is a variable? A variable, like if you see that num1 and num2, these two are variables. So that means variables are a named location. So each of these variables will occupy some space. There are sessions we didn't start. What I'm trying to explain is just want to quickly walk you through, do something, see the output of the screen without even knowing what it is. And session 3 onwards, that's where we'll come and learn the C# programming language. Session 1 and 2 is foundational blocks where we will see the power of C#. It's only for that. And see the internals under the hoods. Okay, we'll see a lot of things under the hoods now. Still, we have 12-15 minutes. I hope we can stretch 10-15 minutes more. So that's the variable. It's a named location. It occupies some space in memory. So local usings. So local usings is where you will have this local usings where you'll be importing namespace, and the namespace is where you'll be using it. So suppose if you see this here at this point of time, you have system namespace as well as the programming structure demo1 services. That means if you want to use this math class, you need to specify that the math class lives in program structure demo1.services. So you have to specify using this namespace. That means when I use this math over here, if it tries to find the math class within this source code, or it is not available, then it goes and tries to find in the namespaces which you have imported. Then it goes and finds that in the math, in the namespace. What is this namespace? In this namespace. That's what is this local usings. And another thing is main method. So the main method is an entry point of the program. Okay. Even for other applications also, there will be one program class and one main method. And I told exceptionals, you can have multiple main methods, but that's a different story. But as of now, let's have our fundamentals: one main method, one entry point, one program.cs. Now there are top level statements which doesn't fit inside any namespace, I mean, which is outside, which doesn't wrap itself inside a namespace. And the top level statements are supported only in the program.cs, and that is one entry point, only in that. And dot operator is to access the members of a namespace type or object. So what does that mean? Namespace, this is the namespace. If you want to access any of those things, you can use the dot operator. Okay, so like this. So all dot operators is like you have a class, like namespace, you can use it, or class dot property or method, or object. Where is object? Maths is a new object, object dot member. So dot operator is the way you will access it. So now we did a deep dive to understand the programming structure, what a simple program looks like. Okay, the next session is let's understand the project structure. So project structure is the first thing is a source files. So if you see this project, inside the project folder, you will have a C# project. We'll come back and learn what the C# is, but for now, these are the source files. .c extension, CS extension, these are the source code files. Now the project file, this is a configuration file with C# extension. It defines like project and dependencies, references, a lot of other things will come. We'll learn step by step, but as of now, understand that this is the project configuration. Okay, this has got the project configuration. And these are the project configuration, and I have to disable that. I'll show you. Another thing is you have a solution file. So you can see the solution file where you can wrap. So the solution file, if you're working with multiple projects and all belong to the same solution, you can make it as a group. So that's what we will do that. So all the projects will be handled. Like if you see that .NET build. So the .NET build is going and it reads this solution file. It knows that there are two projects and it compiles all these two projects. So that's a way to manage, build multiple projects together. References. So C# project references, external libraries, packages. OK, that also we will specify. As of today, if you see that there are no references which we are doing it, but there are references which we are doing it. I'll show you it. That's again deep into the weeds. We'll do that. And settings and configuration, we will be discussing in later. And if you see that output of any project will be either the executable or libraries or different things, but what is that, where it is, we will see that. The bin folder contains the compiled output, such as the executables, libraries produced in the build. So if you see that here, you can see that this is the executable. And this is the DLL. And this is programmable debug information will be here. OK, so that's what is this bin folder. And there's another folder, OBJ folder. This folder holds the intermediate build files created during the build process, including object files, metadata used to create the final output. Those OBJ folder is like an intermediate step during the build process. OK. So now let's see few things. I will comment these two things. And let's execute this. There's a lot of errors. It's not able to recognize what is this console color, a lot of things. So now I will enable these two lines. And now I execute this project again. So now it executes. So that you have to track it back to the local usings. This statement, bulleted point 9, local usings in C# allow importing namespace. So that means when we are saying using, whenever you're using any class or anything, you're saying that if you're not able to find anywhere in this source files, then please go and look at it into these usings. So that is what is this bulleted point 9, and we have seen practically what is that which is happening. Okay, and we have seen the bin folder, obj folder, a lot of other things which we have seen it, right? So these are temporary files, but don't do it because this is just a demo. I'm doing it. You can happily remove it. And once you execute that particular project, so that will automatically recreate that bin and obj folder. Okay, that will automatically create this bin and obj folder. You're back to your normal state. So we discussed, we did a deep dive into programming structure, what is the program structure should be, and exploring the project structure. So we will discuss the part two, a demo 2. Here is where we will do a deep dive. It looks very, it will be very fun when we are discussing. Now, when you compare, someone has joined now. You guys admitted him? Who joined just now? Hello? Vishnu or anyone? Shabir, did someone join?
Vishnu.
I heard a beep. Okay, no problem. I'll copy this here. There'll be a few other things which we have to learn. I'll fix this namespace to demo 2. And this is using the top level statement. So using the top level statement, I don't need to have any of these things. Okay. You see this, the difference between this math class and this math class. You can see the difference. See how it looks. This math class, we are using the namespace has got flower brackets. Now here, this is the file scope where you can ignore those two mustaches or flower brackets, but the class should have the same thing. Okay, that's one difference. And another difference is if you go to the program.class, and if I place it side by side, and you can see that this is the top level statement, and this is without the top level statement. Without the top level statement, you are having the namespace, the class, the program class, the main method. And here we don't have the namespace, we don't have the program class, we don't have the main method. And we told that each program should have program.cs as a main entry point, which should have a main method, which it doesn't have. But still, if I go and execute this, I go and execute this. Executing, it is executing. Okay. Now this is the top level statements. This is without top level statements. Now this looks much simpler, and this top level statements as of today, it's being supported in the main program. And in the main and also in the math class, we have seen that we are using the file scope. Now you should ask, hey Swami, we didn't use this system.namespace, but we are using this console and all these things. How is that? This is allowing us, but this program throws us error. That's because if you go into this obj folder, into the debug, in the program with the project name, there will be a file called global usings.g. G means generated.cs. If you click on that, all the namespaces are here. So that means in this project, in the demo 2, we told to use implicit using. Implicit using is enabled, but whereas in demo project, implicit using I disabled. So that is the reason we have to explicitly specify all the usings here. But whereas in this top level statement is one thing we are using, and another thing is we said that use explicit statement, implicit usings to true in the program file. So that means there will be a project name .global usings.g, that means generated. You should not touch it. Okay, there are other ways to do it that I'll show you in later. That's one thing. Now the second and very, very most important thing is in this program, you have the program class, you have a main method. Here we don't have main method. And Swami, you told that main method is an entry point. Then how does the runtime or the guy who's executing this program, how does he know that he has to execute this? That's a very good question. So someone is generating. We didn't write explicitly the main method, but someone else is generating. How does that look? First, I'll show you that. That main method, which is automatically generated, will look like this. Okay, will look like this. Can you show me? I'll show you. If I throw an exception, that's in demo 2. Now let me come and execute this demo 2. When we execute demo 2, see that what it is telling. There was an error. And what is that error? Inside that main method. How is this main method? With an angular brackets and dollar. That means compiler is generating the main method for us. So now you guys can ask, what is the guarantee that compiler is generated? Can you show me that? Definitely, I will show you. See this. This is our program class. Come in here, add an assembly. Go to the CLL. There you go. So this is within the demo 2. So demo 2 is top level statement. So this is how the program looks. But what compiler it generates is it adds the main method for us. This is the system generated. See that? Let me put it both side by side. See that? System generated. This is an exception. So this is, it's generated internally. Okay. So that. So next we'll learn about how to see the compiler version, how to see the intermediate language. Let's revisit global namespaces and file scope, and then we'll see CLI, and we'll see how to create projects in different frameworks. And we'll do the debugging to see JIT compilation, how the JIT compilation happens step by step. Okay, so that's it for this session, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new. You guys can unmute and speak. I'll stop the recording. You guys have any feedback, positive,